Hey, everybody. Welcome to the morning market briefing. It's Friday, August 21st, 2026. Just hearing a wild conversation about how Ben likes to pick up clothes from Goodwill before a big run and then abandon them on the side of the street, knowing that they will just get taken back to Goodwill. And he recommended to super producer Hicks that he do the same on his upcoming marathon and that he would very be thankful he did that.
That's an exact quote, yeah.
So, Ben, what other marathon tips do you have before we get rolling?
You grease the nips? Is that a move?
I don't.
That's bold.
It's because you wear the sweatshirt and you're not that cold, I guess.
Yeah.
You get warm up before you before you start littering.
Well, I mean, there's usually like piles of clothes that you can just put the stuff on.
Oh.
I mean, it's a lot of people do it. I'm not the only one. But some people go to Goodwill. Some people buy new stuff, which is crazy. Other people go to Ross stores. A lot of people go to Ross stores now.
Good segue backing away from.
Yeah, back to Ross stores. Before we get going again, make sure you check out the morning market briefing clips now on YouTube. We're up to 3 subscribers.
Yeah, so Hicks.
So me, Hicks, and Tom, and
I
one of
need
us hasn't done it.
I need to subscribe.
Yeah, so Hicks, according to the algorithm, according to AI, separating the short clips from the long clips onto 2 different channels is better for the algorithm, so you don't confuse the algorithm as to what you're trying to do. So
it is interesting. I think Hicks is just trying to bolster the old resume. Said he's the producer on 2 major YouTube channels, but we're on to him. Ross stores, where you can buy not quite Goodwill priced sweatshirts. If you bought a sweatshirt from Ross, you probably hold on to it, but man, they're up 8%.
Yeah, definitely. The traffic is just extraordinary for them. They expect comps in the third quarter to be 67%, which is just good, especially when we compare it to things like Walmart. The street was looking for 3%. Earnings per share was raised for the year. I think they're really firing on all cylinders. And we don't really talk about Ross, but, shout them out when they're doing well.
Performance fueled by compelling merchandise offerings, engaging marketing initiatives, and continued enhancements to the in-store experience. I haven't been in a Ross in a while. I'd like to know what those enhancements are.
I've definitely almost exclusively purchased clothes on the internet.
Yeah,
for a long time now.
Yeah.
They closed the Ross stores in Seattle, downtown Seattle, because people were just stealing stuff.
People were taking clothes and then dumping them on the side of the street.
Yeah. Yeah, why go to Goodwill? You can just get a 5-finger discount at Ross.
Interesting story from Reuters talking about the challenges with getting oil out of Venezuela. Boats just lined up, tankers just waiting. Turns out the infrastructure, not so great.
Yeah, but I mean, it also shows just the amount of oil that is there and the amount of interest in getting oil from Venezuela to the U.S. and to refineries. And I think that it's going to result in a lot more oil coming to U.S. markets, which is what is needed right now.
But Ben, the Wall Street Journal told me that the amount of oil was overstated and that the oil that they did have, we couldn't use because it was icky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, I mean, this is the problem right now. I think that we're seeing so much misleading headlines, blaming, the Venezuela thing is not going to work because the ports are not.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that these dudes running these boats and waiting for 30 days, they certainly think they're getting some oil.
Well, and the reporting is hyperbolic in nature by saying they could wait up to 30 days, which means that everyone is waiting, that no one's waiting more than 30 days.
Yeah, and it's probably likely 15.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I could wait 2 weeks before lunch.
Yeah, that's true.
Or it could show up at noon. We'll see what happens.
My interesting anecdote, my mom is in Djibouti right now.
Nice.
Careful.
And apparently she took a video and you can see just tankers lined up as far as you can see.
What does one call someone who is a native person of Djibouti?
I think it's a Djiboutian.
Is it a Djiboutian?
Djiboutian.
But I tell you something.
Let's give that a goog.
She is I was looking at the geography of Djibouti and like what's
you were.
You always looking, dude.
and what was
Yeah, Djibouti.
The countries around it, it is a absolute terrible place from a
This is
from like all the places that you read about in like
Well,
where
I got
people
bad news about what kind of ethnic groups there.
where people are killing each other. Like they're all around Djibouti.
yeah.
Well, the primary ethnic groups are, wait for it, Somali. And the other one is actually Afar, which, if I recall correctly, is where the wise men came from. They came from afar.
All right.
What is an Afar person? I have no idea. I've never seen that before.
Tom, speaking of Djibouti, we got some relief on ground beef
Yeah, I mean,
coming through.
Trump coming in hot. He's looking out for the people. He's looking out for the boys who are obviously protein maxing, which I guess Gen Z isn't because they're busy fragrance maxing.
So crazy.
But he's allowing extra exports of beef, notably, according to this tweet, President Biden made sure that no one had beef. So it's good. It's good for the boys.
Anytime we can get this raise as we work to rebuild this herd.
Remember when they killed all the chickens?
I did.
They culled them, and then we ran out of eggs.
Go figure.
I mean, for people who are very into animal rights, they certainly killed billions of animals during COVID. And then didn't even give them the dignity of eating them. They just threw them in the ground and said, that's enough of that, I guess.
Oh, man.
Though notably, during the Biden administration, the boys, during COVID, we masked up and we drove down to Buckhead to buy super high quality meats off of a truck
at a home that was for sale.
It was in the driveway of a pending home, but it was a restaurant supplier. They like put out an APB and was like,
Yeah,
hey,
what was the?
it was like Buckhead beef or Buckhead something.
It was very high end.
It was some of the best steaks I've ever had in my life. We bought them for very reasonable, though still pretty high prices.
We walked up and I was like, I'm about to spend so much money. And people were there getting like 3 or 4 like sirloin steak cutlets. I mean, I filled the freezer, and the guy was like, "That's the biggest ticket we've had today." I was like, "Yep." We
The
just
saddest
threw it
part
in the back
was
of the Jeep, and
they were out of the Wagyu hot dogs. That was on the list.
It was.
It was like there was like a sales sheet they handed out. And I was like, man, you can get a case of Wagyu hot
I mean,
dogs.
I got USDA prime brisket, like a 22-pound brisket for like $118 or something.
Those are the times, man.
I'd have to get a second job to do that in this economy, but maybe not for long.
Staying at home all day,
Man,
cooking hot
it
meats.
was so fun. But the good news is we're giving space for our great American beef herd to grow again. So the beef herd is back. I think this is meaningful. I mean, it certainly is for my household.
I mean, 300,000 metric tons it's a lot of animals.
Collectively, we're going to have 45 all beef hot dogs among 5 of us this afternoon.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
The young boys are participating in a 999 challenge while watching the baseball game on TV
And doing their fantasy draft.
I'm gonna go home and take care of my kids, and as a function of that, not eat 9 hot dogs or drink 9 beers.
We've got a chart here that I don't know if we
Cue
want to throw
the
it up
chart.
now.
Cue the
Hicks,
chart.
But of the beef prices, just
Hicks
for
wasn't ready. He caught him napping.
He was working on the other channel. Next week, what do we got? What's top of mind for you guys? We got NVIDIA coming out. I feel like people are going to talk about that.
That could be an important earnings report. Intel's up there too, right?
We've got NVIDIA on Wednesday evening. We got the PCE inflation on Wednesday morning. So you know what Nick Timros is going to be paying attention to.
Yeah.
And then we've got Kevin Warsh.
Unless it comes in cold, in which case he won't post anything.
He won't know.
Kevin Warsh speaks on Friday morning at Jackson Hole. We don't really have a clue on what he's going to be talking about. I am curious who gets the scoop. I would have said Colby over at the New York Times, but I think she's kind of
hot seat.
She's been kind of a poo-pooer lately too.
Yeah.
Sad Colby. They changed her profile picture and she looks like
How do we get Tom credentialed
witch.
to cover Fed meetings?
Dude, I would love to
That
go
would
to
be so
Jackson
fun.
Hole, dude. That'd be sick. If there's one to go to, that's the one to go to.
Yeah.
Man.
I don't think we could afford it. I mean, I would imagine it's very expensive. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that was always that's the Super Bowl of monetary policy.
Yeah.
So,
because you have everyone from the U.S., you even have some Europeans there.
Ew.
Gross.
Christine might be there.
Ew. Yeah. That guy.
Well, What was interesting, just really quickly while we have just a little bit of time, Scott Bessent was on CNBC yesterday, and I think that he said some things that really stood out. He's basically said, if we're doing this, you should be asking yourself, what did they know that, or what does the people actually doing these operations know
What does
that
the
we
people
don't know as investors? He says that I have asymmetric information, you guys don't, and you guys are wrong.
Man, he gave an. I would encourage everyone to go watch the CNBC interview with Sarah Eisen yesterday, because Besson's just the man, dude. He just does not
Just
care.
slapping folks around.
Yeah, I will say. So we actually did a little exercise this morning. We looked at the most recent purchases by the Treasury of the long dated bonds, and you would be shocked. Like we talked about it yesterday. If I sold Ben a car for $10,000 and then bought it back for him for $9,000, I would have, a car and $1,000.
And it's pretty nice to make 10% free money, basically.
Yeah, but if you look at the bonds that he did buy, I mean, we own actually a huge chunk of these bonds by face value, and I think that's the most important piece. Is that, like for example, one of the QSIPs is 912810 Sam Papa 4. Which are some 1 3/8 treasuries maturing on 8/15/2050. We own 1.086 face of these bonds, million. The current going price for those is $46.57, and that was towards the top of the list of bonds that were purchased, in the open market by Scott Bessent as part of this refinancing deal. So he paid $46 for something the U.S. government was paid $100 for. And you would assume that this was on 8/15/2020.
And here's the other piece of that: you mark fixed income at like if you own fixed income, or if you have a liability, you have that liability. Like your mortgage is still, like the principal on your mortgage is still there. You don't, just because interest rates rose, you don't mark down the value of the mortgage. Similarly, when the government borrows money, it's going to mark that at $100 in debt. So when you buy that back for 50 cents, your debt just went down 50 cents.
Because you're buying your own debt.
Yep.
It's like
you cancel that 100, and maybe you have to issue debt to buy that new 50 cents, but you wiped out the 100, and now you're down to 50. So he is actually reducing the national debt as he's doing this.
How dare he? He doesn't know what he's doing.
So yeah, across those QSIPs, like as a firm, we own $6.8 million face value. So when they mature, that's what those bonds will be worth. But the current value of those bonds, based on the price that they trade at, is $4.5 million. So you basically, like, rough math would be, most of these bonds are purchased at 60 cents on the dollar as a weighted average price across these QSIPs. But they were all issued at par, or around there, depending on where the auction went off. It could be slightly above, slightly below. But like, anyone who purchased those bonds when they were issued has lost money, and anyone buying them now, especially if you were the one receiving that money, that's a win of an average of about 30 cents on all of these bonds. So I think that's pretty interesting. And a lot of these we've purchased within the last 6 months. I mean, we weren't exactly going hard at 30-year treasuries in 2020.
No.
The people who are Silicon Valley Bank, First Republic, which now are wholly owned subsidiaries of JP Morgan for the most part.
Congrats, guys.
So the real loser here is the government got $100 from someone. That person owned equity in a bank. That bank made a bad buy. They got wiped away to the sea, and now the Treasury is buying them back. That's a win for Scott Bessent, if you ask me.
Yeah.
So it's a loss for shareholders of those banks, but that's the game. That's why you do your own due diligence on stocks.
Crazy.
But the ultimate reason for that is because Jay Powell, who's running the Fed and whose mission creep had been oversight of these banks, and he appointed Mary Daly, who was asleep at the wheel, and notably not a great track record on the voting, decided just to not monitor the banks at all, or have any interest in what they were buying to back their assets. So
why do your job?
Yeah. So,
we're back.
That's just, so that's basically Scott Bessent just pantsing Jay Powell again publicly, but no one's going to connect those dots. No one's going to write that Wall Street Journal article and be like, hey, here's the flow of how Scott Besson was able to get 100 cents and then buy it back for 48 cents. It was Jay Powell's fault by way of Mary Daly.
They'd strike you just like they struck Matt Calkins.
Yeah.
Seattle Times.
Yep. Tough times.
Yep.
It's crazy to think of a story like that happening in Seattle. It's just hard to imagine.
Look it up.
All right. We'll wrap it up there. You all have a great weekend. Talk to you Monday.